Welcome to Just the News. I'm Faye D'Souza. This is where we give you all of the information about everything that happened in the country that's of importance to you in just about 10 minutes. Remember, there are no opinions whatsoever included in this news bulletin. Let's get straight to it. India has reported less than 1 lakh new cases again in the last 24 hours, 91,702 new cases, although 3,403 deaths in the last 24 hours. Tamil Nadu remains the highest contributor, logging 16,831 cases, followed by Kerala, Maharashtra, and Karnataka. According to the Ministry of Health, active cases have dropped further to 11,21,000. A group of public health experts, including doctors from AIIMS and members of the National COVID Task Force, have written to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and said that mass, indiscriminate, incomplete vaccination can trigger the emergence of mutant strains. They've also recommended that there is no need to vaccinate those who had documented COVID infection. The experts are from the Indian Public Health Association, the Indian Association of Preventive and Social Medicine, and the Indian Association of Epidemiologists. They've suggested that the government should aim to vaccinate the vulnerable and those at risk first, instead of mass population-wide vaccination. The report highlighted that vaccination of young adults and children is not supported by evidence and would not be cost-effective. Just to quote out of the report, it says mass, indiscriminate, incomplete vaccination can trigger the emergence of mutant strains. Given the rapid transmission of infection in various parts of the country, it's unlikely that the mass vaccination of adults will catch up with the pace of natural infection among our young population. Opening all fronts simultaneously will drain human and other resources and would be spreading it too thin to make an impact on the population level. End quote. The US FDA has rejected Bharat Biotech's proposal for emergency use authorization of Covaxin. This is a setback because it will potentially delay the launch of Covaxin in the US. The US FDA has asked the company to launch an additional trial and apply for a full approval as opposed to an emergency approval. According to the chief executive of Ocugen, which is the United States partner of Bharat Biotech, he said that this will extend our timelines, but we are committed to bringing Covaxin to the US. Now, this comes at a time when Bharat Biotech is under criticism in India for not sharing its phase 3 clinical trials almost 6 months after its vaccine received approval in India and has been part of India's vaccination program for nearly 6 months now. The Union Health Ministry, according to the Hindu newspaper, has said, and I quote, "We respect each country's regulatory system, but this will have no impact on India's vaccine program." Now, Bharat Biotech is seeking approval from the US FDA and the WHO, who have currently not recognized this particular vaccine because as we move forward right now, vaccine passports are likely to become more and more in use, where countries will only admit travelers who have received full vaccinations. We've seen this happen already with students who want to attend universities in the US. And unless Bharat Biotech's Covaxin is recognized by the WHO and the US FDA, it will become a problem for those who need to travel. The Indian Council for Medical Research will conduct a national sero survey to assess the spread of COVID-19 across the country in various states. According to PTI, the Health Ministry has also asked state governments and union territories to conduct similar studies so that the information from all geographies can be collated. The ministry has said almost 78% of a decline is now being noticed in daily new COVID cases, but it has cautioned people to continue COVID-appropriate behavior. According to a report in the New Indian Express, an RTI reply received from several major central government-run hospitals maintained that there is no data as to how many deaths of COVID patients have happened because of non-availability of oxygen, ventilators or beds. This includes hospitals like the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Jodhpur, Patna, Raipur, Bhopal and Bhubaneswar, among others. Activist Aniket Gaurav filed an RTI report after reading reports of the people who were dying in Delhi because of the lack of oxygen. This also comes at a time when the Delhi High Court has directed the state government to make a list of people who died because of these reasons to decide compensation for family members. The Madras High Court has noted that all over the country there are grievances that all of the deaths caused by the pandemic have not appropriately been recorded. It also said that accurate reporting of COVID deaths will help future studies. The court has added, if necessary, it would be fit and proper for death certificates that are already issued to be revised and reissued, especially so that no family member will be denied relief from several schemes announced by central and state governments. The court issued notice in a public interest litigation which has been filed before it, raising concerns about the reporting of COVID deaths. The court has said, and I quote, "This has to be looked into. Something has to be done. We need reports for our scientific data, research purposes, and also for the immediate purpose." End quote. The state of Karnataka has extended its lockdown until the 21st of June, but it has announced several relaxations in districts where positivity rate is less than 15%, including Bengaluru urban. In Bengaluru, parks and open spaces will now be opened up for walking and jogging in the morning between 5 a.m. and 10 a.m. Some offices will be allowed to function at 50% capacity. Taxis and autos will be allowed with 2 passengers. For all 11 districts where positivity rate continues to be high, the current restrictions will continue. Karnataka reported 11,042 new cases in the last 24 hours and 194 deaths. In other news now, away from COVID. A member of the Uttar Pradesh's Women's Commission, which is a commission that is meant to look after women, their rights and their safety. Meena Kumari, a member of this commission, when asked by reporters to comment on the incidents of rape in the state of Uttar Pradesh, made a statement saying girls should not be given mobile phones because they'll chat with boys and then elope with them. He also added that when such situations happen, it happens because of the mother's carelessness. In a video clip that has now gone viral, she can be heard telling reporters that she wants to appeal to people not to give mobile phones to daughters. And if you do, keep an eye on your daughters. Firstly, I would like to say that mothers should take care of their daughters. Daughters end up in such situations because of mothers' carelessness. People should watch their daughters, where they're going, which boys they're sitting with. There is a need to watch their mobile phones too. I would like to say that they talk on their phones and the matter reaches a point where they elope with someone and get married. The commission president, according to the Indian Express, has said the commission does not agree with her remarks. Filmmaker Aisha Sultana has been named in a case of sedition and hate speech after she made comments criticizing the administrator of Lakshadweep, Praful Koda Patel, and his handling of the COVID situation, alleging that the centre has almost used a bioweapon. An FIR was filed on that complaint by the BJP chief of Lakshadweep. During a news debate, Aisha Sultana had said on a regional channel she blamed the rise of COVID cases in the island on Praful Koda Patel's decisions and remarked that the centre had used a bioweapon against Lakshadweep. The administrator has been accused by protesters and locals in the past for doing away with quarantine protocols. And Aisha Sultana had effectively said that there were 0 cases in the first wave of COVID, and now they're reporting about 100 cases a day. In her Facebook post, she has clarified, "They have filed a sedition case against me, but I want to reiterate the truth will win. A case was filed by a BJP worker in Lakshadweep. I will continue my fight for the land where I was born. We don't fear anyone. My voice is going to get louder now." End quote. Also, a quick look at political news at this point. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi is holding a meeting with Union Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah and BJP Chief JP Nadda at his residence, according to ANI. This comes after Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Mr. Aditya Nath was in Delhi for the last 2 days and met with the 3 individuals after there's been a lot of rumbling about discontentment in the BJP UP with the leadership and with the handling of COVID. It remains to be seen what decisions are finally made by the BJP. Remember, the elections in Uttar Pradesh now are 8 months away. West Bengal Chief Minister on Friday welcomed Mukul Roy back into the TMC from the BJP. Remember, Mukul Roy, who is a very close worker and a close aide to Mamata Banerjee, had left the TMC to join the BJP. Mamata Banerjee claimed that more leaders from the Saffron Party will join the TMC in coming days. Mukul Roy was the first big Trinamool Congress leader to be poached by the BJP 4 years ago, back in 2017. Mamata Banerjee has made a statement saying leaders who are gentle, sober and do not believe in bitterness will be taken back. Those who betrayed the Trinamool for money for the assembly polls will not be allowed back into the party. End quote. Taking a look now at news on business and economy. There has been another hike in the price of petrol and diesel. Petrol in Mumbai is now 102 rupees and 4 paise. Diesel is 94 rupees and 15 paise. In Delhi, petrol is at 95 rupees and 85 paise. Diesel is at 86 rupees and 75 paise. Chennai is paying 97 rupees and 90 paise, 19 paise for petrol. You must remember these numbers are important because it is not just the rich who drive cars who will be impacted by these numbers. The price of diesel affects the price of vegetables, milk, food, ration, essentials, medicines, everything that comes into the markets on the back of trucks which are fueled by diesel will be impacted by this. It will also affect the entire delivery system of the e-commerce industry and the food industry, because most delivery professionals use two-wheelers that use petrol. So this is something that will affect inflation and put more pressure on household budgets at a time when many people, hundreds of thousands of people, have lost their jobs across the country. News coming in from across the world right now. The G7 summit, world leaders are set to discuss climate change and vaccines. The G7 includes the UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the United States. Now, this is the first, physical meeting that is taking place of these entities since COVID. The UK has announced it will donate 100 million surplus COVID vaccines doses next year. The G7 chiefs will be joined over the weekend by leaders from Australia, South Africa, South Korea, United Nations, European Union, and India, which will be joining remotely. This will also have a big impact on the way that COVID vaccines are now distributed across the country, given the fact that these developed countries have now achieved a certain level of comfort with vaccination of their citizens. They're being now coaxed by the United Nations to donate extra vaccines that their countries will now produce to countries that have not received vaccines yet. After blocking Twitter on the 5th of June, the Nigerian government has now shifted its presence to the Indian Twitter alternative, the Coup app. Remember, Nigeria had said Twitter allegedly was being used to undermine Nigeria's existence and spread fake news after Twitter had deleted a tweet from Nigerian president threatening to punish regional secessionists in the country. Twitter has now been banned in Nigeria, and the official government handle of the Nigerian government is now on the Coup app. An update now from the world of science and technology. The National Geographic Society has announced that it will officially recognize a fifth ocean in the world called the Southern Ocean. This is the ocean that surrounds Antarctica. Now, the change marks the first time in over a century where the organization has redrawn the world's oceanic maps, which historically have included four oceans, which is the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian, and the Arctic Oceans. This, according to the National Geographic Society geographer Alex Tate, he said the Southern Ocean has long been recognized by scientists, but because there's never been an agreement internationally, we've never officially recognized it. This is sort of geographic nerdiness in some ways. We've always labeled it, but we've labeled it slightly differently than other oceans. This change was taking the last step, saying that we want to recognize it because of its ecological separation. So effectively now the world has 5 oceans instead of 4. An update from the world of sports. 21-year-old Aruna Tanwar has now become India's first ever Taekwondo entry into the Paralympics. She's world number 4 in the women under 49 category. She's also the 5-time national champion and has received a wildcard based on her exemplary past performances. Indian Taekwondo President Namdev Srigaonkar has said she's the first Taekwondo athlete from India to qualify for the Paralympics. This has opened doors for aspiring athletes, especially women athletes who want to be in that position. One piece of positive news before we leave you for today. 3-year-old Ayansh from Hyderabad was suffering from a rare disease called spinal muscular atrophy. Has been administered with the world's most expensive drug, Zolgensma, which costs 16 crore rupees. The drug had to be imported from the US. Ansh's parents managed to raise 16 crore rupees in a span of 3.5 months from 65,000 donors via crowdfunding online. The donors also included Virat Kohli, Anushka Sharma, Imran Hashmi, Dia Mirza, Javed Jafri, Rajkumar Rao, Arjun Kapoor, Sara Ali Khan, and of course thousands and thousands of other citizens who pitched in to make sure that Ayansh can be healthy. Well, that brings us to the end of the news and to the end of the week. Thank you so much for watching. Continue to leave us your feedback. I really enjoy reading it. Remember, as we go into the weekend, stay safe and stay home. And if you are feeling anxious or distressed in any way, reach out and talk to someone, ideally a professional, who would be able to help you through it. This is a difficult time for everyone as we continue to be isolated. Thank you so much for watching.